Shalom, I want to talk about this week's Torah portion, which is Bamidbar. We are entering into the book of Numbers, and it's quite exciting. You have to get through some just very basic reading here, but it is really worthwhile. In chapter 1, right there at the beginning, we get the name for this portion. Then the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness. And that's what this is about. Bamidbar, in the wilderness. V'yedaber Adonai el Moshe bamidbar Sinai. In the wilderness, it's going to start telling us about the children of Israel and their incredible story, their journey through the desert. All right. If you're looking for a name for a baby boy, there are plenty of names in this portion. They numbered all the men of every tribe to see how many in each tribe were able to go to war. But still in chapter 1, verse 47, it says, the Levites, however, were not numbered among them by their father's tribe, for the Lord had spoken to Moses, saying, only the tribe of Levi you shall not number, nor shall you take their census among the sons of Israel. But you shall appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of the testimony, and over all its furnishings, and over all that belongs to it. As we go on through here, it gives us such a beautiful picture of the order of the Lord and how God would have the camp of Israel in such a perfect order, each one with their job, each one in their place with their banner. And it takes us through to tell us how the camp was. For example, the truth of the matter is the camp was sort of made in the shape of a cross. And on the east side, there were 3 tribes camped. That was Judah, Issachar, and Zvulun. In the south part of that was Reuven, Shimon, and Gad. On the western side was Ephraim, Menashe, and Binyamin. And on the northern side was Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. And there in the middle was the tabernacle. Right in the middle of the camp where God should be, right in the middle of our camp as well, right? And also the Levites were there because in the middle, that they had the responsibility for the tabernacle. So in chapter 2, verse 34, it says, thus the sons of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So they camped by their standards. Each one had like their own banner. And they set out, everyone by his family according to his father's household. When we get to chapter 3, this is what we see in verse 2. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, Nadav, the firstborn, and Avihu, Eleazar, and Itamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the anointed priest, whom he had ordained to serve as priest. But Nadav and Avihu died before the Lord when they offered strange fire before the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai. And they had no children. So Eleazar and Itamar served as priests in the lifetime of their father Aaron. Then in verse 6 it says, bring the tribe of Levi near and set them before Aaron the priest, that they may serve him. They shall perform the duties for him and for the whole congregation before the tent of meeting to do the service of the tabernacle. They shall also keep all the furnishings of the tent of meeting along with the duties of the sons of Israel to do the service of the tabernacle. You shall thus give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are wholly given to him from among the sons of Israel. So you shall appoint Aaron and his sons that they may keep their priesthood, but the layman who comes near shall be put to death. So we had Aaron and his sons in the position of the chief priests, but God gave them a gift. It was the Levites. And this whole tribe was dedicated to the service of the tabernacle and of the congregation. When we look in verse 12, it says, this is God speaking, the Levites shall be mine. And we know later on when we get into Peter says that we are all a kingdom of priests unto the Lord. It's what he wanted for all of us. And it says there, they shall be mine. I am the Lord. Later on, it says, this is still in Numbers chapter 3, verse 17. These are the sons of Levi by their names. He had 3 sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And it's important to learn their names because later on, as we go through the desert with the children of Israel, we're going to have all these interesting stories and characters. And we find out that the characters were just so related to each other. This is one big family. And so it's so worthwhile to pay attention to these names as we go through. Still in chapter 3, verse 25, it says, the duties of the sons of Gershon. This was one of the sons, right, of Levi. Their duties in the tent of meeting involved the tabernacle and the tent, its covering, and the screen for the doorway of the tent of meeting, and the hangings of the court, and the screen for the doorway of the court, which is around the tabernacle and the altar and its cords, according to the service concerning them. Kohath, the second son, their duties were, and we see this in chapter 3, verse 31, involved the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, and the utensils of the sanctuary with which they minister, and the screen, and all the service concerning them. The third son, which was Merari, they, in verse 36, now the appointed duties of the sons of Merari involved the frames of the tabernacle, its bars, its pillars, its sockets, all its equipment, and the service concerning them, and the pillars around the court with their sockets and their pegs and their cords. In the next chapter, chapter 4, in verse 5, it says, when the camp sets out, Aaron and his sons shall go in, and they shall take down the veil of the screen and cover the ark of the testimony with it. What they were really doing, they were packing up the Holy of Holies, and then they were packing up the holy place. It was so holy that God would not let this be done by just anyone. Everyone had their own God-given duty, and as long as everyone was doing their duty, the camp moved forward in a beautiful way. Then in chapter 4, verse 15, it says, when Aaron and his sons had finished covering the holy objects and all the furnishings of the sanctuary, when the camp is to set out, after that, the sons of Kohath, the Levites, shall come to carry them, so that they will not touch the holy objects and die. As I was reading through this portion, it so blessed me how it's just like the kingdom today. Every person has a God-given job, a God-given destiny. It kind of reminded me of Lord of the Rings, that some people would say maybe Frodo was the most important character, because if you haven't seen it, take a look at it sometimes. But Frodo had the job of carrying the ring. But the truth was that Sam carried Frodo. And in that way, they succeeded. And it's just like that in the body today, that if we are working together, each and every one, with the very things that God has entrusted to us by his grace, we will move forward and the kingdom of God will move forward. I hope you have a great day.